Hey, yo, what is up? The Sports Bag Bros podcast is coming back from a long weekend of sports. And what has made it a long weekend? Well, sports, by the way. But I think when we look at it, the sport that we wasn't expecting to stand out as much as it is standing out and has been doing so since the beginning of this season. And it's the WNBA. The All-Star Game, surprisingly entertaining for everyone who watched.
Well, I wasn't one of them, but
Uh,
I had things going on Saturday. I
all right.
caught a little bit. I saw Caitlin Clark's ninth assist to tie the rookie record.
Yeah,
Then I got pulled away. I didn't get to see the rest of the game, but I saw they did win. But let me say this: when we started this podcast,
yeah,
I never thought we'd ever talk this much women's basketball. It's
ever.
crazy.
And that's true. But that's what's going on now, man. It seems like it's the thing to do it, and it's not even forced. I think it's something that's part of the news cycle when it comes to sports. And right now, I think the entire sports realm not force feeding it down your throat, but you're just seeing it because of the entertainment, and then it doesn't hurt to have that soap opera element that's been with it the entire time as well. So you have
Right?
basketball, you have soap operaism, and so you get some news quality that comes during a time that we typically wouldn't even talk about sports, which is the black hole of the year, summertime. Once basketball is over, once hockey is over, once a whole bunch of other sports are over, football is waiting to come back up. You had that. I mean, you could talk about Wimbledon, but we had the WNBA to speak about, and there were stories. If nothing else, they were entertaining and compelling just for the hell of it.
You're right. When you talk about Caitlin Clark and what she's been doing, her
Yeah,
triple double, beating the Liberty, having 400 points, 150 assists, 100 rebounds, but I mean, whatever the numbers are. And Caitlin Clark, although she might be stat padding, I mean, she does own the record for the most consecutive double doubles. And then to see them do what they did in the All Star game, and Angel Reese actually shot well in that
it
game.
did well. Yeah,
So maybe she just needs a better passer to get her the ball in better positions to score. I don't know. But, she had a double double. I think she had the most points scored since someone else. I can't remember. And Caitlin Clark had 10 assists. That's a rookie record. The all time record is 11.
11. She could
So
have
I'm
broken
sure
that.
she's going to get that record eventually. So there are things to talk about. It's legitimate conversations. And then I'm sorry, but I don't know the lady's name, but she dropped
Arike
34,
Ogunbowale.
35. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, if anybody got snubbed for the Olympics, she might be the one.
But you know what? Her case was different not going into the Olympics because they wanted her to. And I remember hearing about her talk about how the process goes. You have to continue to put your name in, but then she also mentioned politics. She stepped back from it a little bit after she talked about the politics, and then she was pressed about what politics in particular. And she tried to backpedal on it. She actually did backpedal on it. Oh no, that's politics in all sports, but we know what you're talking about. At one point when it first happened, they said she was upset in addition to probably her own process. She didn't like the way they were treating Caitlin Clark, you know what I mean, because of the politics. And when you look at what happened in the game on Saturday, well, the politics looked like it played a role because Diana Taurasi is not Caitlin Clark. Probably never has been, even in her younger years. Well, she definitely wasn't. No one knew, well, other than watching college basketball and seeing her transition to the WNBA, you didn't know who the hell she was. But now, the way things were played this time around, two players, I guess, one not intentionally snubbed. She took herself out of it, but Caitlin Clark definitely snubbed. They got together and they were able to beat this Olympic team. Now, this isn't the first time the Olympic team has lost to the WNBA All-Star Games that happened in 2021, right before they went to Tokyo. They lost by 8 points. But this time around, we got to see it. More eyeballs were on it because more eyeballs are there because of what Caitlin Clark has been doing. And we got the chance to see how good that young team is. And I think the X factor and the coach of the Indiana Fever may need to be Cheryl Miller.
I tell you what, I think I watched maybe 4 minutes. And what I noticed in that short time frame was the level of play was so much better than normal WNBA games.
Absolutely. And I liked
Um,
it.
yeah, I mean, I saw step backs. I didn't see a lot of drop passes. I saw up and under moves. I was like, wow, like this is real basketball talent
That's what it was. Yeah.
here. So it was fun to see. Hopefully, they're saying, the game's growing. Maybe within the next 5 to 10 years, the level of play throughout the league will elevate.
And I think they've added a couple of more games as well. I think 4 or 5 more games they're going to add to the season. So, of course, they need to justify that money that's about to come in. They need to have more games, more attendance, more eyeballs on it to justify that huge contract they're about to get. But that Arike Ogunbowale, she's the one I think really needs eyes on her. We all know about Caitlin. She's the one who gave us the opportunity to watch the game because not too many times, no one did it on their own volition. Hardly anyone did it on their own volition, turning on a WNBA game, let alone an All-Star game. All-Star of who? You don't know who the hell they are. Now we do. And now under the lights, we get the chance to see these players, and her in particular, Arike, and she just was absolutely dominant. Didn't score anything in the first half, 21 points in the third quarter, the second half. And then in the last quarter, I mean, she just closed it out, getting 34 total points and the MVP of the game with no question. But everyone looked good. People may think that, well, at least I hate on Angel Reese. No, I don't like the things she does outside of basketball, and I like to just kind of troll the things she does on the court because it's comical. We've seen it. But this time with a real passer, you saw them two working together. The pass, the assist that she had gotten for and made the play, bro, they look good together. That team looked pretty damn unbeatable. And Cheryl Miller only had them for a couple of days.
What's funny is I saw a couple of clips on YouTube from ESPNers, and they're saying, well, Team USA hasn't had a chance to practice a lot, blah, blah. Did the All-Stars have a lot of time to practice?
Exactly.
Come on. How many excuses are you going to come up with? It just take your L and realize you got to be better.
I think it comes down to these dinosaurs on this team played together so many times in the Olympics, probably, and international play. When it came out to an All-Star game, I guess, I don't even know what those teams were comprised of, but I guess that's their excuse. Well, it should be no excuse. They have played together. These young ones have not played together, and they looked a lot better, looked more in sync, and guess what? Even more talented. Brittany Griner, who I expected to be more dominant, was not dominant at all. I mean, she was getting punked. She wasn't doing anything. I was expecting her just to force her way onto the court. She had that deep voice. I wanted her man game to come to the table too. She didn't do any of it.
So what did Asia Wilson do?
No, Angel Wilson, she did some work out there, but she slowed down toward the end. But in the beginning, she was getting her work, and she showed why she's the leading candidate for MVP this year, and the reason why she had gotten it last year as well. So yeah, I don't think there was any problem with her. But when there was time to win, and these young feisty kids were trying to keep themselves ahead, they were up by 19 points at one time, 16 points, whatever, 20 points.
Oh, I don't know.
They were
won by 8, right?
Yeah, I'm looking at this like, wow. You know what I mean? And I know, and Caitlin wasn't good from 3, but once again, she doesn't have to be the 3-point specialist in order to be effective on the team. She, in fact, doesn't even have to really get stats because from the beginning of the game, they were playing press defense against her alone, doubling her from the 90 feet away. Come on.
I saw a clip of
no one else in an All-Star game.
I saw a clip of Plum all over her from the inbounds pass, and Caitlin was hyped when she dropped a dime for the bucket.
Exactly, and that's what she was doing. And so she doesn't have to score. She means so much to a team, regardless of what it is, that she's able to still be effective, whether she's handing out the dimes or whether she's allowing the attention to move from others to her. And with a team full of stars and all-stars, they're still spending their time with her as if there aren't star players with veteranship behind them. That's out there that still can score. And sometimes they're wide open and didn't score too. But still, and those 3-point shots, man, that some of these players were shooting, I mean, flat out missing. It looked like kind of bloopers, but you kind of gave a little bit of a pass because the way they played when they did play well was so good. I mean, they really played well. It looked like basketball. It didn't look like some type of a troll video.
Well, I think the score is a good indicator of the level of play. 117 points were scored, and the loser had 109. Most WNBA games don't get up to 100. So, there were some ladies who can put the ball in the hoop for sure. Another thing that's interesting, I'm seeing stuff on social media. Caitlin fans want Cheryl Miller to be the Fever coach.
That's what I was just saying. Cheryl Miller needs to be the next coach of the Fever. I mean, there's that Midwestern tie-in, and then this tie-in before she even had gone to the Indiana Fever of being, talking or having somewhat of a relationship with Cheryl Miller and Reggie Miller. I mean, you already know the Indiana Pacers tie. I mean, they also own the Fever, so it seems like a no-brainer. But I think it's a kind of a sort of a catch-22 because if they go to the playoffs and they even win a game, well, there's no reason to fire the coach. You know what I mean? But if they just kind of drop and just everybody just kind of tank, which I doubt they would do, well, then you have a reason to fire her. But I think those players are now too good for them to tank. And if they not tank naturally, at least go to the playoffs.
Doug Collins got fired after the Bulls. I believe they beat the Cavs when they weren't supposed to. And he got the axe.
Yeah.
And he got replaced with Phil Jackson.
I think there's a little bit more leniency in the WNBA because, well, I think now it might not be as much, but it might have been that much leniency in the past. Now that people are watching and all eyes on them, and you hear nothing but complaints with Christy Sides that it looks like people would not mind if she's out, if she's used as an example of this is how it's going to be from now on, since no one's really arguing with you to get rid of her while she's doing something when no one knows. Now everyone knows, everyone's watching, they're seeing you on every problem. And it seems like when you go on any social media platform, YouTube included, you read the comments and they're all going against it. You go to Twitter feed, they're all going against it. Get it out of there. She knows what she's doing. She doesn't know how to be a star player. We already know, in my opinion, still, even with Caitlin's trajectory being what it is and seeing what Angel Wilson, now I know how to pronounce it, Angel Wilson, how she's doing. I mean, Cheryl Miller's still the GOAT, in my opinion, in women's basketball.
I think a lot of that stems from Caitlin averaging, she's like 17 points a game. And I think most of her fans want her to average 30. And they think, well, she's not averaging 30, so the coach must be holding her back. Or she's not shooting as many threes as she was at Iowa.
But she's
also not making them at the clip that she was making them at Iowa. So I think that's why she's not shooting as many. So, I think they have high expectations. There may be a year where she averages close to 30. But again, Steph wasn't Steph for a couple of years, a few years actually. So it might be a few years before Caitlin's really in her groove and starts shooting her threes better, 40% and better, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But until then, I don't know if you can hold the coach accountable for that. Now, I'm on record saying I don't like the plays she draws up.
Now, that's what they're holding her accountable for.
Well, maybe that, but I'm saying Caitlin Clark fans, do they really care if the Fever win or lose? They just want to see Caitlin do well. They want to see her score.
Do well,
I think.
And get the win.
I think they don't appreciate her overall game as much as they should, like I do. Like if she dropped 15 points and was 2 for 4 from the field and they won by 10, I bet half of those passes would be no look or behind the back or through the pocket, like passes that nobody else makes. And I would appreciate that. And I'm not sure her hardcore fans appreciate it.
Now, I think some of them are new hardcore fans. They probably picked her up when she was at Iowa, and now they're on the bandwagon now, seeing the style of play and the way that they're double and triple teaming her. And then I think it still comes back down to what Christy Sides not drawing up the plays when it's supposed to, blowing those big leads because she's probably not keeping the ball in her hands and allowing her to be the field general that point guards are supposed to be on the court. We know her vision. We know the shooting, but it's that field generalship, being able to get the ball and having that vision on the court to get it to the open player. And the way she does it, though, I mean, she looks like a little bit of Magic Johnson when you don't expect that from a woman. I haven't seen it from a woman playing basketball in college or even a little bit of the NBA, WNBA I've watched, even though not a full game until this season. I mean, I think I've watched enough to not even in highlights do you see these kinds of passes until this season.
I believe she really needs to work like on her floater game because I've seen her have lanes to the basket, but because she's only 6 foot, she doesn't go all the way because she sees a taller person in the lane waiting on her. Where if she had a floater game, she can just shoot the floater. So she either dribble around, go through the paint, kick it out, or she'll try some crazy pass to the other side or whatever. Whereas if she had that in her game, could get more easier buckets that way instead of shooting deep threes all the time.
And she's quicker than I think people had given her credit for, because like these players said in the beginning of the season, or even throughout the season up until about now, all she does is shoot 3-pointers. Now we know that's been debunked with the way you've seen with her assist and when she drives through the hoop. But she has some good speed. She has I don't even think it's deceptive. I think she's just naturally quick-footed getting to the basket.
Well, my belief is when you have good handles, your quickness or lack thereof, it doesn't matter, because you can use hesitation, you can stop, you can change direction, you can cross over, pull up on a dime, go behind the back, keep your dribble. There's a lot of things you can do when you have handles. You don't have to be the quickest person on the court.
I'm just saying for her, she's quicker.
I'm saying she can get to certain places because she has handles. Yeah, I don't think she's all that quick.
Well, I'm saying just, on a sudden move, she gets to the basket faster than I would have expected. And apparently the way she gets by and the look on their face or the reaction they have, which is usually too late when she does that move, that leads me to believe that she's probably quicker than they were expecting. And then when they get caught up in the flow of the game, now that's just another problem they have to worry about. Her quickness, dribbling the ball and getting to the basket. You still have to worry about the 3-pointers, even though they're not falling at the same clip they were when she was in college. Just the overall game, or thinking you're collapsing on her and she's still getting rid of the ball to the open person and still being effective because the assist is executed. I mean, there's a lot more to it. But let's not forget, and I want to make sure that the point was made that Angel Reese did have a game. She wasn't just hanging around, padding her stats. She was making things happen, and she really got the crowd into it too. When she was making some of the plays she was making. I mean, she was getting the plays, and she was, we already said that she goes after it. That's the one thing you can't deny.
No one's ever accused her of not trying.
Of not trying, yeah. Now this time she was trying and she was making it. She was getting the ball in the right positions, and even she missed a couple of them, right close, and she tried a few threes. That's just not her game. So I'm not even going to hold that against her. Shooting a three when there's an opportunity to do it, you just don't hit it, and especially when you got the flow of the game going. But she was playing a solid damn game. In fact, a very good game. And I know there were people out there wondering, Caitlin needs to have more points than she has. No, it's not even like that. Now that they're on the same team, and I know there are people that are probably going to make that comparison. She had more points than what Caitlin had. She had more rebounds. They're still making the comparison when I think in an All-Star game especially, it's irrelevant. When you go back to your team after 20-plus days of having off, and then you're resetting for the second half of the season, that's what you're going to find out who should be where and where this Rookie of the Year candidacy or who's leading the race is going to go.
Yeah, and I thought it was very interesting. We talked about Caitlin probably needing some rest, and they asked her some type of question. I'm not sure what the question was, but she said she's looking forward to not having a basketball in her hand, and she's going on vacation.
Yep, I think so.
I think she's looking forward to some time off.
I think we made, not us, but I think the public made more of an issue of her not going to the Olympics than she probably really cared about. Now, she's not going to be the person who comes out openly and says, no, I'm okay, and I don't want to go to the Olympics. She'll just let it play out and let people speak. She has surrogates, whether willing or unwilling, that are going to say whatever they're going to say. And she'll just roll with the flow. And by the way, when Arike was out there playing the way she was playing, Coach told Cheryl Miller, told Caitlin Clark to go in for her. And she's like, nah, let her out there, because she was cooking at the time. She's like, yo, just let her continue to cook, man. Selfless play once again. Something that doesn't get talked about, but it was on one of these channels in which they were talking about it, and that's exactly what had happened. She's like, yo, let her out there, let her go out there and play. And then Arike is at the same time was talking about, even afterwards, after the game, days now afterwards, talking about how much she was a fan of hers, even at Iowa. And they had somewhat of a relationship before she came to the WNBA. So maybe not everyone was upset about her coming to the WNBA. So two players that are excellent players that aren't on this Olympic team, as they go out and try to embarrass themselves, the way the men's basketball team has been trying to do the past couple of freaking games. South Sudan, man. That's even Southside Chicago. South Sudan. Come on, man. What are they talking about?
I don't know, but It was a 40+ point spread, and they
40,
won by
like
1.
45 and a half. Come
And
on.
they got lucky too, because the dude had a tip dunk and missed it.
Yeah,
Oh
bro.
man, I don't know. I mean, it's not the actual Olympics, so but still,
Yeah, but come
you know,
on, bro. Them
you
is
you
still
know that other team's going for the dub. You got to come to play. You can't just go out there and go through
This
the
isn't
motions.
1992 anymore, man. People aren't just in awe to be in the same game with you or on the court with you. They're coming to beat you because you're the standard bearer. They've come a long way, and they're testing their players against you. Now, you see a lot of these foreign players because the NBA is now so international. You have players who either play in the NBA or playing college ball, playing for these other teams now. So they know the style of American basketball. That's how they learned how to play basketball. They've gotten tough as an American basketball, at least in the NBA, has gotten less tough over the years. It's not the 1990s, as we already know. It wasn't the mid-90s. It's not the freaking early 2000s. That's not what it is anymore. And these European players have come into the league, and now they've taken their game overseas, and they're that much better because of it. I mean, look at Australia, who I still believe is the second best team or country in basketball in the world behind the U.S. so far. And Canada could be in number 3, but you still have Spain. You still have France, who put up an excellent game against Australia yesterday. So you got a lot of good teams out there. I think if you had them together for a longer period of time, maybe even great teams. But now today, Germany becomes a problem, which isn't that much of a difficult thing because Germany's always had a solid team anyway.
What happened with Germany?
I mean, today the U.S. almost lost to freaking Germany. I thought
I didn't even know they played today.
You got rid of that little scare they had against South Sudan. Like, okay, maybe that's what they needed. They needed to get it together. Now they can kind of go out there and play their game. And then they're behind again against freaking Germany. And then they come back to win, but it was way too close for comfort. I remember the last time we had the Olympics, or at least the exhibition game, they lost to freaking Nigeria. Nigeria, man. God.
Yeah, it seems like they got some stuff to work out. I heard Wendy on First Take talking about they put the second team in and they played way better defense than the first team. And they subbed someone for LeBron. And he was sitting at the end of the bench staring like, why the fuck you take me out?
He's been winning the game for them, LeBron. Who's been winning the freaking games.
Well, maybe today. At the end, but he's been on the court when they're falling behind and they put
now Joel Embiid has been the one. Joel Embiid has been getting excoriated for the way he's been playing.
Is he even healthy?
Defense, huh? You know what? If he's not freaking healthy for his team,
he shouldn't be on the team, in my opinion.
Man, come on. And the way he's playing, I mean, defense in particular, on offense, he looks like he wants to go. But on defense, that's just something he doesn't want to have any part of. And he's supposed to be one of these guys who's good at defense. So, I mean, he's the one, when I was watching the film of people who are breaking him down or just watching it, you just see the comments like, yeah, they're all on him, and rightfully so. You know, Steph Curry's 3 isn't falling the way we'd expect it to fall. You know, all these players that they claim this may be even better than the dream team of 92. No freaking way. Now, teams have come a long way from what they were in 92, so we don't see any 60-point blowouts and players just looking for autographs after games. We're seeing a much closer game now, and guys ready to chomp on the bit and come back again. And at this time, when it's for real, try to get that gold medal from the U.S., which hasn't been something that was impossible anymore.
So what was the score of today's game?
Oh man, what was the final score? Shoot, I remember it was 87-82 when I saw it. Well, they were down, and then they came out 87-82. So I can't remember what the ending score was, but the U.S.
I'm just curious because I saw LeBron walking off the court after they beat South Sudan, and he's saying we need to be tested. We needed to be tested.
By them though?
Like it was a good thing. I'm just saying,
bro,
it was a good thing. Okay, well, were you tested, or are you just really not that good? Because if you're going to struggle with everybody,
well, because we know that they're good in terms of talent. Now, as far as cohesion, getting a chance to play, they're still undefeated. By the way, they just had a lot of games that were too close for comfort. But they're still the NBA players. They're still allegedly the elite of the elite. And I guess that it's not like an all-star game. You just throw guys together. You can just win games and doing it for the people, doing it for the crowd, the entertainment. I mean, these guys are really trying to win, and they're just barely winning by the skin of their teeth against teams that aren't traditional powers. Germany's one of those middle-of-the-road teams, or even in the top quarter, you want to say that. they have good athletes and they play fundamental basketball like a lot of European teams don't do. But South Sudan, there's no freaking way. The line showed you where it should have been, and if you cut it in half, they still should have lost by 20 or plus.
I think they probably need a couple more guys like Drew Holiday, who don't care about their offensive numbers.
Drew's out there.
Yeah, I said more guys like Drew.
Or more like him, yeah.
Yeah, more guys who aren't scorers or shooters. You need guys who are just gonna bring their lunch pails and go to work. Like Draymond in his prime. I don't know about Draymond now, but those type of guys who they don't need plays called for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
they're just gonna play good team basketball.
But that's what you would have thought.
Good, tough defense.
But that's what you would have thought Tyrese Halliburton would have been doing. One of those guys you can just plug and play. Well, how about
Tyrese? He sees him score. He sees himself as a scorer, man. I don't see him.
You with 20 plus freaking assists? I mean, he scores and he can get that ball out to the people who are open. I mean, that's what he did during the regular season. Now, I don't know too much difference during the international play until it really, really starts with the trapezoid or the other nonsense. But, I mean, how about Jason Tatum? Isn't this another player that we kind of waited for during the championship series to kind of come into his own when it really mattered instead of just doing everything like Mr. October or Mr. May, like Dave Whitfield used to be in baseball? We're talking, I think those players, they have those kinds of players. Anthony Davis, he's been all right. I mean, I've seen him block a few shots, but against guys that probably would never see the light of day in the NBA. I also look at this as an opportunity for NBA clubs to now see these teams as much as social media is and as much as this is a much smaller world now where you could find a talented person anywhere on the planet. I think this is still a showcase for some of those guys playing above and beyond what they naturally would, because there's a scout that might see one of these dudes from South Sudan that they just didn't know about that may just get a chance at the NBA. I mean, the dude's like 17 years old, someone 17, 18 years old.
Yeah, I heard a couple of names, but I didn't see any highlights. I didn't watch the games.
3-point shooters, man. They had shooters. They had dudes going. They just defensively just stealing.
We got to keep in mind though, Team USA, they just kind of been thrown together recently.
Yeah, exactly.
These other countries, they've been playing. They have more cohesion. They know each other better. So it's going to take some time for Team USA to work out the kinks. But winning on having to score a bucket under 10 seconds left, I think they should still be doing better than that.
That's what I'm saying. The game shouldn't even be that close when they're at their worst, because talent-wise, I don't think anybody else on the planet is close in talent. I just think the fundamental way these players overseas play is trumping what these isolation plays that we have here in the U.S. They can beat you one-on-one any day. But as soon as you put them in a structured environment, well, then they kind of fall apart. Whereas these other teams know where to be, they know the spacing, they know all the basics they need to know. By no means are they more talented. They just have enough talent to make it work in their fundamental way. But that's good enough to scare the American team. Hey, the All-Star Game, how often do they have to practice? How many days? Like just day, not even a couple of days.
Yeah, but who even watches the All-Star Game anymore? But I was going to ask you a question about the All-Star Game because I heard this thrown out before. And I agree with it. I think they should make it USA versus the world at the All-Star Game. Now you might have some competitiveness.
Well, but then some of those players that are real superstar players in the NBA, well, they will be on that world team. Jokic will be on the world's team.
I'm talking about the NBA All-Star Game where you have Jokic and Luka and Giannis.
International play versus
against Americans.
Yeah. Because of the nature of the
NBA. One team would be all Americans, the other team would be from wherever.
The foreign Canada, Europe, Australia. Playing together. Wemby, Luka, Jokic playing together.
Exactly.
That's pretty serious, man. I mean, I'll dig it. I think that would get some interest. I don't know why they haven't thought about something like that. I'm sure they thought about it, but why don't they think it makes sense? I mean, why wouldn't it make sense?
I mean, that's better than two captains having a pickup game nobody cares about. They don't even care about it.
Exactly. They
But
decided to throw that monkey wrench in
but
years ago.
if you bring in that nationalism into it, there's gonna be some pride. Man, we can't lose to these dudes from you know what I'm saying, or we
That's
have
what's
to beat
supposed to
the
be going on right now with
Americans.
the
Come on,
Olympic trials.
let's go beat the Americans. We got to beat them. You know that then you got something.
And I think those players, though, would damn sure be a much tougher, even than these teams that Americans play right now, trying to go into the Olympics. I think you get as good as this international basketball has become, whether in Canada, where Australia. Now you look at Luka, you look at Jokic. You get those players together. You're talking seriously. America having a serious chance of losing. I mean,
Yeah, I
on a
mean,
consistent basis at that.
I, I heard today that there hasn't been there hasn't been an American MVP since 2017.
And that's true. Yep. When you look at it, how Jokic is hogging up all the hardware, and then you have Embiid, then you had let me see, Giannis. I mean, yeah, none of them are American, but they're hogging up all the MVPs. And I think that says a lot. These are the freakish players from those nations that they come from. These are the freakish ones that come into the NBA playing as well as they play, because the other ones, not as freakish, still just play very good, fundamental, solid basketball and win well as a team.
Yeah, I'm all for it. I think that'd be the first All-Star game I watch, and I can't even remember the
In a
last one I
long time.
watched. Yeah.
Come on, that 200-point debacle this past season, man. Come on, man. That's more of an embarrassment than being proud about how many points had been scored. I mean, that was just an outrageous. I mean, come on, man. That's like what Troy State did years ago in college basketball. Unbelievable. Come on, man. You got dude scoring 34 points in a game, and he's like the fifth leading scorer. Come on, man. On his team. On his team, man. But oh man, hey, basketball wise, how about LeBron, Bronny, man? Bronny James kind of stepping his game up, showing that he at least belongs. Like any other second rounder, he's going to get the benefit of the doubt as any second rounder. He's going to get more pressure because he's LeBron's son, and it kind of seems like they forced him into the NBA. But for some reason, he kind of sort of got something. In his final two games, played very well. Played very well, man. He started making his shots and looking good, and the coaches are saying something about him now. Okay, now we know we have a benchmark what we need to work with in the offseason. So when it comes down to it, we can make our informed decisions with what we're seeing. And it looks like he finally wants to work. I don't know if it was the heart issue or was it the overall pressure. This guy's gotten that stuff put to the side, and he's looking like he's trying to play some ball, and that he's shutting them up right now. Look good doing it too, defensively and offensively.
Yeah, good for him. I mentioned last week we may have written him off too soon.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's been performing better. Good for him. You know, we've both said we don't have anything against him,
Nah,
but he
I
just
want to
wasn't.
see the seed.
He wasn't showing shit. Now
We
he's
were doing
showing.
it like we
So,
started, man. Come
so
on.
good for him. We'll see how he progresses. People are wondering why he's getting hate. I also believe it is his contract. He got a 4-year contract
Guaranteed contract as a second rounder.
before he earned it, right? So there's a bunch of reasons, you know, for people not to like Bronny. You know, whether you think he's only there because LeBron, you don't like that he got a 4-year contract. You know, there's other guys who are probably better. They won't ever get a 4-year contract.
Yep, that's true. And it's guaranteed. Second rounders don't get guaranteed contracts. He got a guaranteed contract.
Yep.
But, you know, and we know why. And you know what? But he's living up to the expectation. Well, trying to live up to the expectation. He hasn't done it in just 2 games, but at least you saw that improvement. And it's been exponential improvement instead of just incremental improvement from the time we saw him. It's like, oh, damn, this is exactly what we was expecting to. Oh, shoot, he's showing real noticeable differences in what he has done. Did he go to the film room and figure things out, or is his maturity just happening right now? And believe, you know, it still has to do with players that he has around him. These aren't NBA guys, but this is as close to the NBA as you're probably going to get, probably just a tad under the G League, but he's showing that he belongs at least, and that confidence going into the offseason after this is probably going to be more than anything for him.
Who knows? It could be maybe because LeBron's doing his thing with the Olympics and LeBron's not there to watch him or talk to him. Maybe he feels less pressure.
Good point. Good point. You know, everybody knows LeBron. I mean, whether you're over in California playing and LeBron is overseas, LeBron's still watching somewhere or another, there might be pressure there. But yeah, it might be something. Or if he's in attendance, it's just, I don't know, another eye on you out of all the millions of eyes. In fact, he played so well to where the fans was calling when they sat him down in the final game and the fans was calling for him. So they were on his bandwagon anyway, but now they have a reason to be on the bandwagon because now they're seeing there's a little bit more smoke and a little bit more fire here. So I think, for him, it's good. Now it kind of makes it a cliffhanger, waiting for the season to start. First of all, seeing if he makes the team and not just sent down to the G League. And if he does make the team, how they're going to find a little slither of time to put him in when it matters most.
Is the summer league over now?
I think it may be. I think no. They're out. I think they're out of the contention for whatever little playoff they got going on. So they're not playing. They're not playing.
You mean the Lakers aren't going to get the summer league championship so they can put up a banner?
Bro, but I don't know. That was to fit on the rafters, I guess. Come on, they got to raise that joint in the rafters and retire it. But yeah, I just thought
I saw a video. Kobe's talking about we're about championships here. Those are the only banners we put up, and I don't remember word for word, but it's his words while the in-season tournament banners being hoisted.
Being raised up, yeah, right, man. But hell, he wasn't around to see it, so I guess it's all good. Kobe would have been pretty pissed off seeing that thing raised up, and then seeing how the season had ended, and everything in between.
He would have shaken his head for real.
Yeah, he would have been shaking his head, man. We're hearing these Kobe stories of late. I know they've been out there, but people kind of whispered it, and especially after he had passed away, people didn't want to say anything that would have rocked the boat or try to mess up his legacy or just talk about it. They felt kind of guilty. I'm hearing more and more stories of how much of an asshole he was. I've always heard those kind of things on the slide, but people are becoming a little bit more vocal about it. He was an asshole, man. Oh, my God, he was an asshole. And his best friend says he's an asshole. Bruh. Even bodyguards coming out now. This player let me go to his house, invited me to family functions. Kobe just let me stay out front in the gate and sit in the car. Dude's bitter. Come on. He said Kobe was that dude. He hung out with his family, kept everything off guard. I guess after what had happened, off the court, that probably screwed him up mentally. Even though he was responsible for his own problem, maybe he's like, man, you can't just trust anyone anymore. Shaq, your teammate, came out on you. After you threw him under the bus. So I guess, I can see why his mentality is like that. And then some people even going back to, he was in Italy, then when he came over here, he didn't speak English well. So they probably picked on him in Philly. And Philly's a lot like New York. So I can only imagine the kind of picking on that was going on. But, he was a baller and this and that. And that's how he earned his identity. And I guess once he got with himself, that's the only thing that kept him peace, just going to the gym, not dealing with anyone else and becoming the great player he ended up being. So I guess that's how people come with these assertions now about him being an asshole. Hey, tell me any player who's successful on the highest level, successful people in life typically aren't always jovial. They probably have a little bit more acid to them than you would like.
Probably. I haven't heard any of these stories, but I don't know. If you're the bodyguard and that doesn't mean you're his best friend.
You're not supposed to be. You're working. You're his employee.
Right. Exactly. You got a job. Be glad you're employed by him.
But then there's other guys out there that the same bodyguard was like, I forgot who Reggie Miller. Yeah, Reggie Miller invited me to family functions, this and that, party, this and that, or the other. Invite me to his house. Okay, that's cool. If Kobe wasn't that dude,
they probably had that relationship where Kobe, I'm sure, didn't open himself up to the guy like Reggie did. So why would he? Because if he did and he felt close to him, I'm sure he would have gotten invitations.
He probably would have.
Kobe didn't want to be his friend.
But it seemed more like Kobe was somewhat of a recluse. And maybe even more so after all the nonsense had happened with he and his wife and all that stuff in Colorado. You just can't trust anybody.
Let's ask his girls' teammates and their parents if Kobe was an asshole.
Oh, nah, I doubt that. Everybody liked him in that regard. And I guess he put so much into the basketball, especially outside of the season when he was completely done, when he was retired. It seems like he did so many things on the outside, and he was going to do even more things. He wrote a book and all of this stuff, man. I don't know. Maybe that's just his way of communicating. You know what I mean? I mean, shoot, basketball. That was his life. That was his freaking life. You know what I mean? And when you're trying to be the best, there's someone preventing you from being your best, and they're between you and that championship you want. You're not going to be a nice guy, man, or a nice woman if it's a woman trying to get that same prize.
I just don't appreciate people talking poorly about the dead, man.
Nah, exactly.
You should have said it while he was alive if you felt that way about it.
Exactly, man. That's what I'm thinking. Like, bro, now people are asking about it. Do you just say no comment? Or
I mean, if it's me and you, if it's you and a friend, me and a friend, between friends, that's one thing. But having to go public,
making interviews on it,
yeah, fuck that. That's bullshit.
Yeah, I was, bro. I was, for some reason, man. I was never a big Kobe fan. I mean, I didn't dislike him, but I wasn't a Kobe fan, like an AI fan or Patrick Ewing fan. There's other teams out there that I've seen players. I mean, I've seen players, man, that, like Magic Johnson.
I didn't like him.
I like Magic. I like Larry Bird, all those cats. MJ,
I didn't like him because I like Shaq, and I was like, man, who's this rookie shooting all these air balls? Man, pass the ball.
Yeah, I like Shaq too.
I just didn't like Kobe, man, from that point on. And even when he started making those shots,
why he didn't do it.
When he started making those shots, I was like, man, screw Kobe. I didn't become a Kobe fan till late in his career.
Now, as far as just respecting him, I've always had respect for him. Kind of fell off a little bit after the nonsense in Colorado, but none of my business. I just looked at it from a different way, from what you was perceiving to what you really was. And we saw what ended up happening to be the case. But that had nothing to do with in his latter part of his career, because we also got a chance to see him grow from that, become the man he had become. And he had the unique opportunity, and we had the unique opportunity to watch him become from a teenager to the end time of his career, ultimately until his death. And you got a chance to see the growth. We saw the flaws. The Emperor didn't have clothes at one point. We saw all of his flaws, or a lot of them, publicly, because it happens with a public figure. And the reasons why hundreds of millions of people felt it when he did pass away. You watched him from the time he stepped across that stage until the time the helicopter crashed, pretty much. And everything in between, the good, the bad, and the ugly, he couldn't hide. And social media made it even more of an issue. But yeah, I'm not going to talk mean about him just for the hell of it, man. But I'll just kind of point out, I've been seeing a lot more of those things recently. Like, man, what's still here? Where's this coming from different people? And some of them laugh along with it, but they're probably still serious while they're saying. But anyway, that's the spiel on basketball. And the reason why we can have a spiel on basketball that can end like that is because the NFL is finally here. Training camps are now open. The Baltimore Ravens, along with the Kansas City Chiefs, to be the odds-on favorite, I guess, going into this season. Well, Lamar Jackson, very sick, had to leave camp. He'll be gone for a couple of days. I mean, it's not going to hurt his job unless it's something serious.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm not sure what's going on, but Harbaugh, did you see his press conference?
No.
He's upset about the criticism that Lamar has received, and he's saying that they have a vision for him in his career, and at the end of his career, he's going to be the greatest quarterback that ever played.
Well, you would expect a coach to say that about a quarterback.
I'm just saying that. I mean, it's good to have high hopes, and I'm not trying to throw shade at Lamar Jackson, and it's not shade to say he's not going to be the greatest quarterback. He can still be a great quarterback without being the greatest ever. That's not shade.
I don't think he has enough time to get that many more rings. In fact, I don't think he'll be the best of even his era as long as Mahomes is still part of that era. I mean, so you got to skip over Mahomes, and it's going to take. Mahomes is one of these players that if he just had a handful of championships and just continue to play on a high level, he could still pass people who have more rings. You know what I mean? That's how his talent dictates, and that's how good he is. Whereas Lamar, man, he still has to get that first ring. He does a lot of things in between the lines. He does a lot of things between the playoffs.
He's get to a Super Bowl.
And he doesn't win the Super Bowl.
I'm saying, or at least get to a Super Bowl.
Get to the Super Bowl.
But it looks like this year, at least, if they get there, a lot of it's going to ride on Derrick Henry. I don't know if it's going to be his arm that gets him there.
It's going to be interesting to see how Derrick Henry plays with Baltimore, because backs like him who are physical, even though he wasn't as physical as you might think. I mean, he could be physical, but there was times when he just made moves and just got away. He was fairly elusive for a guy his size. And it just happens to be, once you start getting injured, if you look at the history of a lot of running backs, once they start getting that little nagging injury, and it turns out to do something even more, because more of a snowball effect. And Derrick Henry just started getting hurt a lot recently. I mean, he keeps in damn good shape, but these are injuries that doesn't have anything to do with conditioning or being in shape. Sprains and things like that, bruised shoulders and stuff like that, thigh injuries. That's the things you can't avoid. You beef up and try to absorb more. He was already big from the beginning, but I'm hoping that this isn't the year that those injuries that started creeping up on him now really come in full force. And I'm thinking with Lamar Jackson, the way he throws the ball, and now, he still runs the ball. He's lost weight this season, so he probably might be more just as effective running the ball, that it just confuses the hell out of defenses to where it's not a lot of wear and tear. Running backs don't get the ball a whole lot anyway these days.
Yeah, but when it comes time for the Ravens, if they go up against the Chiefs, they might want to give Henry the ball 25 times. If they can get that running game going, it keeps Mahomes off the field, it eats up the clock, it shortens the game. And if they do get the running game going, that opens up passing game for Lamar. So he has opportunities to make big plays, whereas he's not forced to make a big play. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
because they're now focusing on the run. They can run play actions and do different things. Whereas if it's 2nd and 8, 3rd and 9 all the time, now they're just waiting for him. You know what I mean? He won't have the same success as he could if it's 3rd and 2.
When was the last time Lamar Jackson had a running back that people really had to worry about with any consistency? I don't think he's ever been at that point. I mean, that kid last year, Mitchell,
they've had some decent running backs, but nobody.
Exactly. Nothing like Derrick Henry. Well, right. What he used to be. I'm hoping he's still the same. But in any event, man, all these teams are opening up right now. I know they're asking questions about Aaron Rodgers missing mini camps, and he had plans before mini camp to miss mini camp. I don't know how the schedule just got mixed up to where he actually missed it. But I'm not going to be too big on what's going on with him this year. I'll wait until the actual game starts and they get past 3 or 4 plays and see how things are going by then. Even in the preseason, they may let him play a little bit more because he's been out for a period of time. They just want to give him a little bit more work, and hopefully he doesn't get hurt in the meantime. But I'm not too worried about whether he's going to play or not. As long as Zach Wilson isn't there and that garbage truck has not been retired.
Who is his backup?
Who's backup for Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
Oh, God, dog, how the hell I forget? My own damn team. I know, right? Hey, you know what? Probably when I was like, no more Aaron Rodgers. I don't give a damn what's going on with him. I probably was saying the same thing about the quarterback position. But let me see. Aaron Rodgers. Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor. Now, he was with the Giants before. And I remember him at Virginia Tech. But
I think somebody should sign Adrian Martinez. I thought coming out of Kansas State, after he left Nebraska, he showed he could throw the ball.
Oh, you know what?
He put up monster numbers, and then what he did I don't even know the name of the league. I know it's not the NFL, but he dominated. I think he deserves a shot at least as a backup.
Yeah, and that was something right there, man, because I remember watching him at Nebraska. I was like, first of all, this guy's been here forever. And I'm like, he's just a running back. He's a freaking athlete. He probably played receiver in the NFL. And then against with Kansas State, bro, it was a different play. I don't know, was it because of the offense or they gave him
because Scott Frost sucked ass. That's why.
Well, that could be the case. Maybe we started thinking in the background, Lawrence Phillips would have gotten Scott Frost.
I had a nickname. I had a nickname for Scott Frost when he was playing quarterback. I gave him a nickname. Like I just give different players nicknames, whatever. I would never, ever refer to him as Frosty Dog ever again. He's Scott Frost, punk ass.
But I remember him when he was a top player coming out of high school, especially. I remember also when he was at Stanford. He was a bright student and ended up going to Nebraska. He had a good freaking career at Nebraska. He was a pretty damn good quarterback. It's just that You know, he got himself a national championship with that team.
I know.
Yeah, but as far as the Jets go, you have Aaron Rodgers there, now Tyrod Taylor. Hey, he's better than freaking Zach Wilson. I don't care how you pull it, man. The guy can throw the ball forward at least. He knows what he's doing. He can read defenses a little bit, been in the league long enough. And Travis Jordan for the Florida State also with the Jets. But I'm not expecting anything from him. I mean, like when we went to watch him, I wasn't overly impressed watching him in person when we went to Florida State. And I've watched him play other games throughout the season. It was just that something, man. I don't know exactly what it was, but it was that something that I didn't think he had.
He'll probably be on the practice squad.
Yeah, and then with that still recovering from the injury, you know, he's probably going to sit out the year for the most part. I don't know. But yeah, but right now, Aaron Rodgers, man, if he has an encore of what he had done last season injury-wise, another wasted defense because this defense is still ready to go. All they need is rest. Anyway, what's going on? When did the camp open up there in Chicago? Or is it already open?
I think it did because I saw thumbnails on YouTube. I just didn't watch any, but one title read Bears are improving quickly, and it had Caleb Williams. It had an image of him passing the ball. I worked from home today, so I didn't listen to sports radio, so I don't know what they're saying on the radio. But I'll find out tomorrow morning.
Oh, yeah, that'll be cool, man. Because also we look at the Patriots as well. When you look at what the Patriots have, quarterback-wise, should they sit Drake May? I don't know. Bailey Zappi, is he even going to get an opportunity, man? I mean, you would think now the new coaching staff did, but he was still that same coaching staff. It's not like they went outside and put somebody in. It's still same coaching staff. Mayo from Patriots played there and all that. So it's not like
Did you see the Mahomes pass to Worthy?
No.
He rolled out to his left, and then he stopped and fired it. It was like 60 feet in the air to Worthy, who beat his man by like 4 steps.
Bro, you got to have a lot of that, man. I kind of compared him to Marvin Harrison Sr., you know, that thin frame. Because Marvin Harrison Sr., man, I don't think he gets enough credit for how blazing fast he was.
That was my guy.
Yeah, I still can't believe he went to a school like freaking Syracuse, which isn't known for throwing the ball, but I think he did have Dalvin McNabb back there, didn't he? The time that he was playing. So
I don't remember.
Anyway, he was a hell of a damn player, but then in the NFL goes without saying. I'm still looking forward to his son and hoping he doesn't get injured while he's playing because it looks like in college, this guy got injured for the smallest things. But going back to Drake May, does he sit down? Does he play? Jacoby Brissett, still the starting quarterback, I guess, right now because of being a veteran. And he's done well in the NFL to where he can at least hold serve until young guys come along.
I think it's too early to say. Some preseason games have to go down, and a lot of practice time still to go down. I don't know. I don't know much about Brissett.
But well, he's been on several teams, and he's held serve. Like I said, he's not. He'll hold serve, and he'll have his bad games, but I think he holds serve more than he has bad games.
My thing is, like, if you're the Patriots, what's your window before you're competitive? And do you want Drake May? What's your offensive line like? Do you want him taking a lot of punishment? You know, do you want him getting beat up until, you know, the Justin Fields effect, getting sacked 8 times in Cleveland?
Killed down there.
That too. Yeah, there's been a lot of young quarterbacks destroyed by terrible offensive lines.
Now, I wonder if there's going to be a window given to the entire team to certain positions or what, because you have a brand new coach who's never coached before in the NFL as a head coach. And it's a surprise to me that he even had gotten the job. And then you have a new quarterback, you know, a rookie quarterback that you have to develop. And how do you develop? I just don't know how this is going to work. Does everybody get it past this season unless he has a CJ Stroud kind of season to where you just throw everything out the window because it worked and you just look for next year to be even better?
I don't know. I saw what happened here with the Bears and Justin Fields. I can't remember who the quarterback was, but he was so bad. You know, they had a couple packages for Justin Fields. He would go in there, run a rollout, do a wildcat. But the starting quarterback was so bad, they replaced him, I think, by like week 5. They're like, oh, man, he's terrible. We got to give Justin a shot. And Justin wasn't ready. or at least, like I said, the offensive line wasn't ready.
Do you
He
remember
got
how he looked
he
in the
got
preseason
killed
one
in
year?
Cleveland, huh?
Did you remember how he looked in the preseason, Justin Fields? That would have given you an idea. Okay, he's
Come
gonna have
on,
a bad
bro.
year. Or,
You forgot. I don't watch no
oh
preseason.
yeah. After you get fooled by Walter Payton not playing with the Chicago Bears in the preseason game.
Yeah.
And Walter Payton and the Chicago Bears coming at you for preseason game. He's sitting on there with street
Well,
clothes
another
on.
thing is, like, you hear people. I don't know how it is down in Jacksonville, but like you hear him on the radio. Oh, did you see so and so? He looked so good last night. That should be our starting wide receiver, the number 2 receiver. Blah blah. He was going against the third string.
Yeah, exactly. You hear it every year. It's like people don't know better. They've watched football all these years and they're always touting the third stringer and saying how much the starter needs to watch behind his back because this guy's coming up on him. You know, what was that? What's that guy? Macy Brooks that used to play for the Dallas Cowboys. He was like the freaking Hall of Fame preseason player.
Preseason player.
He never did a damn thing in games, man. Other than get cut. Come on. You have a lot of those guys. But down here in Jacksonville, they're buzzing. Of course, they got Trevor Lawrence with his huge contract. And they look like, you know what, his now 4th year in the league. And they're looking to take a step forward because he did regress the year before, this past season, but the year before that, he did get them close to a Super Bowl. So Jacksonville, as usual, buzzing this season. And, I really like this Jacksonville area when it comes down to the team. The players are so accessible. You see these guys anyway. In New York, man, forget about it. It's hard as hell to find a player or see a player or get close to a player. Here in Jacksonville, they roam freely. They go everywhere. They hang out where everybody else hangs out. It's like that all the time. These dudes, Trevor Lawrence going to freaking the Waffle House all time of night, and they just hang with the people, coming out of the game. After they won against Dallas, man. Well, not Dallas, when they came from behind, but 27-0. They come back in, and he's at the Waffle House 2:00 in the morning. Everybody's buzzing like, damn, Trevor Lawrence is hanging out. And they came, got the cameras out, and everybody started coming to check him out. But that's just how it's been here since I've been in Jacksonville. I'm like, this is more unique than anything I've ever seen when it came down to covering an athlete or athletes, period. These guys are extremely accessible. Maurice Jones-Drew still just chills. I mean, I don't know about now, but he used to just chill and talk fantasy football with dudes.
That's funny.
But that's cool, though. But anyway, that'll be it. It looks like we may
Hold on. Because I don't know why. I think because I missed the WNBA All-Star Game and I didn't see no sports. I tuned in to watch Jake Paul versus that Perry dude. My issue is with all the commentators and all the people on social media saying you gotta give Jake Paul his props. Props for what? He beat a dude had 0 boxing skills.
Bare knuckles fighter.
He was walking in with his face exposed. Oh my
Chin
God!
up the whole 9.
Who has he beaten? Who has he beaten? That I have to give him respect. Fight an actual boxer. Beat a real boxer. He outweighed this dude by more than 20 pounds. He was huffing and puffing like Clubber Lang versus Rocky in the rematch in like the 4th round. What do I have to respect? I ain't got to respect jack shit. Fight somebody worth mentioning. Then I might give you some respect.
I still stand by what
I gotta give him the fingers because he's a fraud. He's a boxing bum. All of his events are circuses. He was supposed to fight Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson's what, 60 years old? Come on, man. And I'm supposed to respect him? Fuck out of here.
Well, I still keep it the way I've always kept it. I was like, you know what? If you want to look at him to turn to me, I would like for him to fight real boxers. But if we would go back and look at Muhammad Ali's first 10 fights, Floyd Mayweather's first 10 fights, Mike Tyson's first 10 fights, they fought guys who were boxers by profession. But you look at the quality of those guys, man. I think just anyone from the audience could have stepped in like Buck Smith did years ago, coming from the damn bar and get a $50 payday because the other guy didn't show up for the fight and get it against Ali Smith and got himself his first pro fight, first loss. I mean, those kinds of guys in terms of overall talent. Now, if he's at fight number 15, still fighting these kind of guys, if he can get there, it's not worth watching. I'm thinking that he actually would because he is calling out other guys. Now, how serious is he about doing it? He called out Canelo. Does he really want to fight that? He's not gonna call out Bivol. We know that.
That's the only fight I would go for Canelo.
Well, Bivol?
No.
Oh, Miss
If
Canelo?
he fought Jake Paul, if he's like, fuck it, I'm going for the money.
Oh yeah.
That's the
Absolutely.
only fight I would root for Canelo in.
Man, I think anyway, Canelo crucifies him, man. I think, bro, Canelo's been in the game so damn long. You don't understand when these fighters have fought for so long. You get a callous for the pain. I mean, and especially when you can still see the punches coming. When you are a fighter on the top level, even on your way down, these other guys who are regular guys still don't have the reflexes you have. And I think Canelo KO him. I think so.
One of the Paul brothers, I don't know which one, got folded by a Ryan Garcia body shot. And and back then he was probably 140
That's the
pounds.
Logan Paul dude, right? That's the Logan Paul one.
It must have been his brother. I don't know.
Man,
but I'm saying, let a hard puncher hit you to the gut and see how it feels.
Yeah, I remember that time that big dude went into the ring with Mikey Garcia. That sparring session, that dude was trolling him. They came to the gym. Mikey Garcia scooting. You know, Mikey's little, but Mikey's got like the biggest nuts ever. Mikey just beat him down.
I saw a wannabe tough guy. He sparred Pernell Whitaker. He thought he was probably like 6 foot, 240 pounds. He just thought, man, I'm gonna maul this little dude. Man, Sweet Pea was in there moving, jacked up his nose, man.
They don't understand when a guy doesn't. You don't have a big knockout record. Doesn't mean a damn thing. These are grown men hitting other people, man. That's just still hurts. It's just that the people they're hitting have somewhat of a tolerance for the freaking pain. You know, a dude has one knockout. You think that he can't punch? You'll get in there with him. As some layman off the street running your mouth.
It was funny. The dude he was bleeding out of both nostrils. Like, that guy's quick. I couldn't catch him. I couldn't get him with a good shot.
Before you got in, dumbass.
You didn't know that going into this.
This freaking Hall of Famer? Come on,
tell me you don't know shit about boxing without telling me you don't know shit about boxing.
Yeah, let's just see your bloody ass nose and see where you got it from. Unbelievable, man. These dudes here just still bug me when they just sit down and you see somebody with an upside down record or you see a bad knockout percentage. You just think, oh man, that guy got crack an egg. We could crack your empty ass fucking head if you got there with him, though. You know what I mean? Come on, you hear it all the time. But anyway,
I got that off my chest. I'm done. We're cool.
You know, we got another show coming a little sooner this week. We're gonna be back on a Wednesday. May still edit it and put it back out on a Thursday, but it'll be on Wednesday this week. So many things going on. And by then, hey, just skipping one day and moving to that day, still more happening with more NFL camps opening up full-fledged. College football making noise now. ACC Media Day going on, or what's going on. And the Florida State and Clemson trying to get the hell out of the ACC, going to the Big 12 allegedly. Let's see how all this stuff going. He's Bias. I'm Trav, and the Sports Bag Bros podcast is signing off, but until Wednesday this time. Deuces.
Peace.